Welcome back to the show. Today we're sitting down with Austin Klar. Welcome. I'm so delighted to have you here this morning, I should say. So let's start with, Austin, he left behind a successful career where he represented Fortune 500 companies to fulfill his dream of helping people navigate the competitive Bay Area housing market. With a keen eye for residential architecture and a talent for harnessing social media, Austin reaches hundreds of thousands monthly, educating and showcasing properties like no one else. Meet Austin Klar, lawyer turned real estate agent in San Francisco and Marin County. The dynamic real estate expert transforming the Bay Area market. With a background as a trial attorney, he harnessed innovative marketing strategies on platforms like YouTube and TikTok to educate buyers and sellers. And I'd like to join us as we share crucial insights that can elevate the real estate experience. Welcome. Thank you. You're really quite amazing. I have watched your videos as we hear. No, it's been really fun for me because I'm new to YouTube. And you're obviously very well versed in it, and so I'm going to go back up a moment and talk to you about that transition. I mean, from trial lawyer to real estate. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'd been a trial lawyer for a little over 8 years in San Francisco. So I started in 2013 and got my license in 2022. But toward the end of 2021, a friend of mine who was a former investment banker who left the banking world, taught himself how to build houses, wanted to start doing spec work and wanted to scale that side of his business, but through a private equity fund model. He raised friends and family money basically to help fund the developments. And I was one of the people that he hit up for money. He was a longtime friend of mine. And I was like, look, I don't really want to be a lawyer forever. I would love to try something new, learn to do what you do, love architecture, love design, everybody loves real estate. And so long story short, after a lot of back and forth, ended up joining him in that venture. And was helping with the legal infrastructure, setting all that up because he sort of had the idea and had his own network of people, but needed all of the LLC agreements, LP agreements, insurance, to raise money for something like that. It's a very regulated process. So was kind of involved on that side of things. And then, got my real estate license with the goal of just representing the fund when we bought and sold properties. My intent when I started was not to be a public facing, full-time real estate agent. It was just to do it when I needed to, specifically for the fund. We closed on our first round of fundraising in June of 2022, which is right when the market just started totally doing a 180, especially from a financing perspective. Things got so expensive so fast, both real estate itself, but just financing and construction costs, materials, labor, all that. So, long and short, we didn't end up purchasing anything through that vehicle, but I had my license, and after I would say maybe 6 months or so, I was haven't made money in 6-8 months, whatever it was. How can I make some money? I was I have a license, I'm going to start using that full time. So that's kind of when I pivoted to, okay, we're going to still keep trying with this entity. They're going to be now just one of hopefully many clients that I work with, and now I need to go find new clients. So that's how I started actually being a full-time agent, and read a bunch of books, listened to a bunch of podcasts, watched a bunch of videos about how do you get business and sales in real estate in particular. And there's a billion things that you can do. There's so many different things that you can do, and some things work for some people and some things work for others. And I, kind of the social media, the video aspect kind of resonated with me a little bit, just because I thought not a lot of people were doing it, at least in the way that I thought would work. And so I kind of just went all in with that. I think you need to with whatever lead generation tactic you're using. And that's how I started doing video.
And did that create business for you?
For sure. It took a while. My first, let's see, I would say I really started working, like doing video full time, like maybe August, September of 2022. And the first deal that I closed through a lead that came in through a video was August of 23. So it took a while. A lot of like, I mean, you probably know, like when you first start doing this, like it is, one, it's not easy, but two, it's like, it's awkward. Like you can have a normal conversation about like where you live and why it's great, but the second somebody puts a camera in front of you, you freeze up. Like you don't talk normal. So it's like,
some people
just learning, getting those reps in, and you just get better at it as time goes on. And then you start figuring out, like the more you post, you figure out what people like, what does well, and you start kind of finding your niche. And so over time it took a while, but eventually started generating like pretty consistent new business. New business. I mean, you still have your network of people that know you, and
I will go back and watch some of those early videos.
they're bad. They're hairy bad.
Well, that's okay. I have early videos too.
They're bad, but that's like how you.
That's how you get stuck to anything, right? Practice. I mean, that old saying, got your Carnegie Hall, right? Yeah, well, that's fun because you've just, I mean, it seems like an overnight sensation in just that short amount of time to have. I think I read you have something like 40,000 followers on
Instagram.
no, in Instagram, and then 25,000 on YouTube and TikTok, and you've just got a really great following everywhere. I mean, do you spend a lot of time on that?
A ton of time. It's like I probably spend, out of anything that I do, the vast majority of my time on researching, scripting, filming. You know,
Is it fun?
Yeah, there are parts of it that I am like, I don't want to do this today, kind of thing. But I think that's true with anything. But I like genuinely enjoy it. Like, and I'm basically just learning about the city and paying attention to what's going on at the end of the day. So it's like reading the news and like writing things out and figuring out how to kind of creatively package it together, I think is fun. And I like, you know, it.
Make your case.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that is kind of what it is at the end of the day.
I know. It transitions well for your past career. Yeah, as a trial lawyer.
Yeah,
Making the case.
I think so.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So, I like it too. I think because I've watched them and I think, well, you're really good at it. I mean, you just, give us the facts. I mean, some of them, and it's, very straightforward. It's not wasting anyone's time. You get right to the point, and and I think there's a great audience for that. Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of followers. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the timing of it, like, I mean, you probably know San Francisco was not like painted in the best light at the time that I started, so it was just like a lot of it was driven by, okay, this is total BS. Like, let's just put stuff out there about what is actually happening and try and combat that a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of negative to talk about. Everything needs to get better, but like there's a lot of good things to talk about.
Yes, there are a lot of great things, and it's a beautiful city no matter what anyone says about it. You can't deny that. You just don't want to look too classy sometimes. Listen, I'm from New York, so safe for that. Yeah, we have our issues, right? Yeah. So do you have help with all of that, like a team, or how do you?
For my YouTube videos specifically, I have people that like edit, do the thumbnail packaging, the tagging, that stuff. Like I was doing all that at first. I probably did it on my own for like a year-ish. And just the editing in particular, it takes so much time. So
That's why we have.
yeah, exactly. Like outsourcing that was like a huge, like it opened a lot of things up just time-wise. And they're way better at it than I am. They made things way better.
Good.
So that piece I have help with. The rest of it is 98% of the time is just me. Like I filmed everything myself, researching things myself, writing the scripts myself. I have people on the YouTube side who will that help me like generate ideas, and they'll send me like some sources and maybe outlines for certain topics, like the history of a particular area. It can go do their research and send me some things. But for the most part, I'm filming everything myself, writing everything myself, and then they're packaging at the end of the day. On Instagram, the TikTok, short form is me, just all me.
Wow. And do you do the green screen work behind you? All those, I did that, like you just so many visuals.
Yeah, that's like new restaurant coming out. I'll get whatever photos I can from their website or whatever and kind of package it that way.
It's amazing.
And it's nice. It's like promoting a local business. It helps, and it's opened up some relationship.
Well, that's how you do people, right?
Yeah.
We've got to find, so in real estate, we have to find niches, right? This is obviously a great one that's working for you. And I imagine that you're meeting more people every time that opens the door, and maybe they want to buy or sell. As we say, everyone that you sell a house to knows 10 people that want to buy or sell. So all those people that you're meeting, it's great.
Yeah, and I think it's good. It's a good way to just get people in, because a lot of people most people you talk to are not in the market to buy a house like right now. But everybody who lives in a neighborhood wants to know what's going on. What are the restaurants? What are bars? What are the, what is there to do? Like, everybody cares about that stuff. And then maybe 2 years from now, they'll want to buy something or sell something, whatever. You got to get them in the door.
Right.
So that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, it's excellent. Last question on that, and I'll move off, because I just think people are fascinated by how well you're doing that, and a lot of people in our industry need to do more of it, I think, in general. And so, I mean, what advice do you have for someone who wants to start that? A channel, or posting more.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest thing is to just do it. Like, a lot of people get really hung up on equipment or just the time it takes, because it does take a long time. Like, seeing themselves in their first video with 10 videos, it is super awkward. It takes forever to do, especially early when you're not that good at it. So a lot of people just won't even start, and some people will start and then just stop. And it's like, you just have to push through that and just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And eventually it just becomes more natural. You get better at it, you get faster at it, like anything else. But the biggest roadblock, I think, or reason why people don't succeed at it is just they either don't do it or they just stop too soon, I think, is the biggest issue that I see. You don't, our phones are plenty good enough to take great footage. If you have better equipment, awesome.
Is that right? If you use your phone?
It depends on the video. For anything short form, house tours, that stuff, it's just my phone. For my YouTube video, I have a DJI Osmo Pocket 3, a small little handheld camera. But it's nothing fancy at all.
Amazing.
You don't need anything fancy.
That's so great. I love that. So that's scary advice for people who don't do it. Just do it. Yeah.
Do it.
I do find that in real estate, a lot of agents start and stop too many.
With anything, whatever.
With anything.
Yeah.
A little farm for 3 months. It didn't work. Right. Well, nothing works in 3 months. You've been at it 3 years, and it's really paying off for you. So that's great. So let's move into the transition. I'm curious about what kind of similarities you find between your former law career and the real estate industry. Do you find?
There's definitely
You've
similarities.
got negotiations.
Yeah. I think it's the communication piece at the end of the day. Especially if you're a trial lawyer, you're trying to convey what may be very complex, or at least foreign issues, something that either a judge or a jury or whoever or client, whatever, is not necessarily familiar with. You're explaining a concept to them in a way that's digestible. I think it's the same thing with us. We see a lot of things that maybe they're not difficult necessarily. A lot of them are, but maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be. But it's just something different that somebody who's buying a house for the first time or selling a house for the first time just has never seen before, so they don't understand it. So you have to kind of package it in a way that is digestible and communicate issues in a clear way. So that, I think, is very helpful, just having the experience speaking. And I think it helped a lot with just kind of project management, just managing a lot of things at the same time. So I think that is a very translatable skill that gets developed. And then, if you're in the middle of negotiation, you're, like you said, you're making your case, right? If it's for, a property that's listed at X, but it's only worth Y, or, the other way around, whatever it is, you have to present that and convey that message in a way using information that is business to you.
Exactly. Yeah, I would think that you'd be very effective in this, having been a trial court.
It helps sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I haven't don't have that experience, and that's been my experience. Is that you really do need to convey to people and communicate to them clearly why this is a great opportunity for them. Because I think people look to us. That's what they're looking to us for, and probably having the degree that you have is really helpful.
Yeah, I think
It's that people trust you a little bit more. You know, maybe sometimes.
I think that helps too. Like it just there's some automatic like trust factor or like a validation factor or something. If they see that, they're like, okay, well, he's got this, so maybe we should talk to him or something like that. Like I'm sure that has, been a factor for at least some people.
It's interesting. I would bet 20 lawyers in my career that as a manager of 20 years. And, so many people come from the law field into real estate. What do you think that, I mean, you probably don't know, but I'm curious why that is.
I feel like being a lawyer is not that fun. I think that's part of it. Like, I think the law is very interesting and fascinating, but the actual like day-to-day of being a lawyer is not the best. So yeah, it's definitely difficult. And so I think it's, like at the end of the day, real estate is we almost are lawyers in a sense. Like we are drafting and negotiating contracts and going through a lot of documents. Like that's basically what you do on a day-to-day basis. So it's a interesting kind of in-between space. So I think it's kind of a natural avenue for a lot of lawyers.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't looked at because all the years reading and writing contracts, and when I started, we had to write our own contract. Mostly addendums. And today there's a form for everything, right? Which makes it a little easier. Yeah, I have a lot of people getting into the business, but we used to write all our own addendums and contingency issues,
And that's basically legal at the end of the day.
yeah, which is probably why we don't do it. And, we have a bevy of lawyers on our forms committee, SFAR and all the different, associations around the country. So they write them and then we, learn them, which is great. So it's not easy, real estate. Have you found it easy, the transition? No, I'm always curious. New people from very prestigious positions come into our industry, and some of them think it's going to be easy. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, I think I vastly underestimated how difficult it would be.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part about, I guess it would be true with any sales job, is just like it's getting the business in the first place. Like once you have it, there is, by and large, there's kind of a set way that you go about on the buy side or the sell side, start to finish. There are obviously differences with every transaction and different strategies, but it's largely the same. But it's that first piece, which is the most important piece, of getting the business and like what I spend most of my time on. That part is extremely difficult. Just figuring out what works and dedicating the time that's needed to make it happen, and then the kind of follow-up systems that you need to have in place and the tools you need to have in place to make sure you're doing that effectively, because it's not always a nice to meet you and we're buying something in a week and then my folks, like it's not like that. So I think that is the hard part, and I think most people fail because they can't do that piece. They're probably fine at the other piece. It's the getting the business that's the hardest part, and I totally underestimated how hard that would be. I thought people would just call me because they knew I was a lawyer and maybe they think I'm smart or something, but this is not the case at all.
Yeah. And so is the social media the only prospecting you do, or do you do other activities?
I have a newsletter that I send out weekly.
That is very another good commitment.
It is. I have someone who helps me write that, but like I'll edit it, but they basically like find the stories. They're the same folks that work with me on the YouTube side, so they're familiar with like what I talk about on my content. So it's like a lot of this same just news about SF. It doesn't necessarily have to be real estate related. A lot of it is, but it doesn't have to be. So I don't have a huge list right now. It's
So about
probably got 1,000 people.
list.
No, of like
A 1,000 people is a huge list.
It's a good size.
Yeah,
I,
it's a good-
I want it bigger.
Good.
More.
Is that people that you know from the past, or is it just like
Yeah, it started, I think, when I first switched over and like created that for the first time, probably had a few hundred.
from your database?
Yeah, but so it's grown since then with people that I've met or like have different lead capture systems, website or on YouTube or whatever that get fed into that. So it's grown over time. But that's like one of my goals is just to like grow that. So that's really the only that's the only prospecting that I do outside of video. And most of the people who are on there who are not people that I knew previously are on there through one of my like Instagram or, TikTok or YouTube. That's how they get fed into that. So it's all kind of related in a way.
I haven't looked at your numbers. This is a kind of a new question. I'm just coming up from our conversation because I used to do that. I'm going to do it not being that nosy guy. But I'm curious, I know real estate is a numbers game. Yeah, I know that. And, I've been in it a long time and you have to have very large numbers. So with, 40,000 people on Instagram, 25,000 on YouTube, what kind of numbers are you converting into business? Have you tracked it?
Not well enough. I would say I probably get 1 to 2 new people reaching out every week, and they're at various stages. Some people are, they're moving here in X months and they want to rent for the first year to kind of figure things out. Some people already live here and they're renting, they want to buy something, and some of those people are ready to start, they're already approved. Some people are, we're going to do it in a new year, just want to introduce ourselves and kind of just understand the process and what we need to be thinking about. Or like if it's a seller, it could be, I've had reach outs from people in 2024 looking not to sell till 2026 or whatever. So it's kind of all in stages of things, but like right now, I would say 1 to 2 people a week are reaching out for some real estate related reason, which is great. Yeah.
It is great. Yeah. It keeps you busy.
For sure.
And builds a pipeline.
Yeah.
So the pipeline is the most important thing because you have to have 50 people in your pipeline and then you got time to have
just 1 or 2
transaction. Exactly. So that's great. That's really working for you. I mean, you really don't, if you found your niche already, I mean, you don't really need to do too much. Do you do open houses?
I don't. I've just never liked doing it. Even for my own listings, I'm like, if someone else wanted to do it, like, I don't know. There's something about, I just don't like the interaction that happens at an open house. It feels just a little more forced, and it can be, it obviously works for a lot of people. Like, it can be very effective.
It's amazing. I mean, some people are just like magnets.
They crush at it. And
I just like partner, in fact. We would do an open house together years ago when we were still a team. And I would go in the office on Monday morning and people would call you and say, can you be my realtor? And I just never such a see how that happened. And people, they're like, oh yeah, you're too much.
Right. Some people just have that way.
It is an magnet. I say, and it's okay. I was just curious because, it's an interesting piece. That's what I mean when I say you have to do so many things to find what you're good at and really what you like.
Yeah.
Because you should do what you like, You said you did a lot of reading and I guess took classes maybe. Did you take classes, reading and podcasts and information early on?
No classes.
Resources.
Yeah, no classes. It was more just like, I didn't even know what it meant to like, what is the day-to-day of being an agent who is just starting? Most people don't. And so, just reading books about what that is, about what does it mean to farm? How do you do that effectively? If that's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to farm, what does that mean? And what are all the things I could be doing or that I should be thinking about? Okay. Like that kind of stuff. Listening to podcasts and watching videos about other people who have been successful in other locations doing YouTube or Instagram, what the strategies are associated with that. Like, I didn't invent any of what I'm doing. Other people do it in other places. There are things that I might do differently or things that I'll talk about. Maybe they don't, and vice versa. But like, I'm not inventing the wheel in any way with this. I just know he was doing it.
Right. You found an opening and and it spoke to you. You know, I mean, it was difficult. I get that a lot, but but you still, no, because I was wondering for folks who are new and who may want to know what you read and how you went down that path, what advice you'd give them.
Yeah. Starting on YouTube, like a YouTube search about that.
Just on YouTube,
Because there's so many people talking about
Correct.
different things to do. I read a book that was like, I think it's literally called Farming for Real Estate Agents. I forget the name of the woman who wrote it, but that was a great book and had like so many different things that you can do. Everybody thinks of like farming as like the postcard mailing type, and it is that, but there's so many other things that you can do that are farming, quote unquote. And so just that kind of stuff. And then, there are a few podcasts out there that are more like content creation related, but specifically in the real estate space that I started listening to, over the past like year or so. So that there's a ton of resources out there, and you can just look at even just like following people online, like other agents and other locations. You will find a million people doing so many different things.
So interesting. Yeah. So you do a lot of, detailed information about San Francisco and our beautiful city and, all the beautiful, wonderful things about it. What do you think is the next 5 years going to look like in San Francisco?
In San Francisco, I think it's going to look a lot different than the last few. All the kind of things that you want to go wrong or you don't want to go wrong in a city, we're kind of going wrong for a sustained period of time over the past several years. And I think we're finally at a point where most people who are looking at it can say that it's probably turned the corner with office vacancies, retail vacancies, tourism is back on the rise, crime is down, homelessness is down. Like every single metric that was going in the wrong direction before is now going in the right direction. And I think we're seeing a lot of renewed investment in the city that wasn't there, over the past like 4 or 5 years. AI is a big part of that. It's a lot of it. It's not all of it, but it's probably half to 2/3 of it, which has kind of always been the case with the city. It's very tech-driven, boom-bust driven. So I think, if the trends that we've seen over the past 18 months sustain themselves, I think the city is headed on the right path, very positive trajectory. I think from a housing perspective, we don't have enough rental or for sale. And I think that as demand starts to go back up again, I think it's going to become a big problem. Prices are going to rise more again, and a lot faster than wages are going to rise. We're already seeing it with rents, and I think we're going to start seeing it more with
That's I only watched one of your videos that you recently were talking about the rent market going absolutely crazy right now.
It's the fastest growing in the country right now, and it fell a good bit from its peak, and that's partly why, from a percentage standpoint, it's rising as fast as it is. But like we're almost back at the pre-pandemic peak for rents, and it's just going to keep going because we have a lot of people who are moving here now, and we have a lot in pipeline, but not enough actively getting built that's coming online on a quick enough basis. And I think the city's done a good job of getting out of its own way a little bit in terms of regulation and stuff. But at the end of the day, like it's driven by the financial markets, and it's just too expensive to build. So. And I don't know if that's going to change.
There's not too much land anyway here.
There's not so much land to be used. I think it's going to be constrained for a while. And
it's true.
Tough.
Yeah. Well, I've been in the city since 1991, maybe. And, we see this happen. It goes up and it flattens just a divot, and then it spikes up and it spikes up. And we're about to, I think you're right. We don't have inventory. And as we're starting to see a spike. I also noticed on one of your videos that you were talking about multiple offers and prices way over asking, hundreds of thousands again. I mean, we haven't seen that in years.
Yeah.
So it's already started.
Yeah, I agree.
So September, it's what is it now? It's October 2025. So buy something now. Call this guy in our house. Well, thank you so much. It's been great for you to share so openly, with so many people. I think people really appreciate learning from others and someone who's doing a great job at what you're doing. He's just putting together a career from the beginning. And I think you'll be here for a long time.
Hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much for taking the time. Appreciate it.